Sportsman with Gareth McGuinness.
Welcome back to the channel. It is the Man City Liverpool special podcast this evening. Black Friday is here as well, but I'll tell you what, Black Friday couldn't be further from the two fellas' minds here. They've got a big game tomorrow morning. Almost the modern day football rivalry between these two. So looking forward to hearing their thoughts on it. We decided to do something different this week. We'd done the Premier League preview last night, so we're just going to focus on Man City and Liverpool tonight. We've been such a big game. Before we start, we've got Jamie Noonan on, Man City fan regular, also Callum, Liverpool fan regular. Two very, very good football men as well. So delighted to have them on for this podcast. Jamie, how are you feeling?
All right, confident, looking forward to it. Looking forward to getting back to club football after what we have to witness being Ireland fans over the international break. But no, it should be all a good game. It'll be a close game as it always is. But I have to say I'm surprised Liverpool. If you had said to me when the fixture list came out, would it be first playing second? I wouldn't have thought so. I wrote Liverpool off at the start of the season, but they've surprised me. They've hung on there and done really well.
James is saying, come on, Liverpool, big Liverpool fan. Andy watch the podcast tonight. Good to have you as James. Callum, how about you? How are you feeling? Big game, obviously. And I know you were drafted on pretty late. You were off the subs bench because mates Waynes were torturing him to take him to the Christmas lights. So unfortunately, he had to miss the podcast, but I know he's got it. So Callum's a very, very good replacement, I suppose.
I think he might have bottled that one. I'm not sure about the combined XI. I didn't want to go against Jamie, did he? But
well, he texted me. He's combined 11, and he says the only player we get on is De Bruyne, and he's not fit. So
you're better off.
I'll give you a bit more balance, but I just somewhere to what Jamie was saying. Long 2 weeks, can't wait now. Massive game tomorrow, always tight, but confident. I think we'll have a good performance tomorrow.
I mean, I suppose it's one of them ones. It was always going to be a game everyone was looking forward to, but the fact we had that international break, especially as Irish fans, as Jamie pointed out, was a tough couple of weeks, nothing to play for. A lot of the actual games, as me and Owen talked about last night, were dead rubbish, so there wasn't many games that anyone riding on it, so it made it even longer. And usually when you come back after an international break, there's usually a decent half-12 game or maybe one of the big teams involved. Rare we see a game like this. So, I mean, we're thrown right on the deep end, Jamie. And I think that's added to the suspense of this game.
100%. Like, I know the thing is, you're watching the internationals, and we're City fans are watching players coming off left, right, and centre. Now, apparently, nearly everyone's trained today, other than the long term. But Haaland was training today as well. Like, so that's good to see. But no, great to be back at it. The season's starting to heat up now. You know what I mean? I think that we'll start to see over the next few weeks who's going to pull away. And like I said, I did write Liverpool off. I felt they were a team in transition. You know, not that, you know, we losing Mane a couple of seasons ago. You're looking then the Salah in the summer, and you kind of felt like you had one eye on the exit. And I just losing Henderson, big player for the club. I just felt they were just in transition, but they've done really, really well. They've kept on there. They're winning all the games they should be winning, but it'll be a test of resolve now against City. But, you know, it'll never be a walkover from either side. You know what I mean? It's always not been talk between the two of them, but it'll be a great game of football.
I suppose, Callum, you're not too happy with this half-12 kickoff. I mean, we're not going to get too much onto it, but Liverpool seem to be a favourite pick for half-12 games. So, I mean, no complaints, really. You should be used to it, but you should be well used to it by now.
Sure, if you listen to Klopp's press conference today, he said he loves half-12 now, so at there's in the attitude he said he's taking. So, no, I'm happy enough now. All our players are on form. Nunes, Diaz, Sal are all bagging goals during the international. So, look, I'm confident that, as Klopp said today as well in his press conference, he's like, if we don't have a good performance tomorrow, I would say he would struggle to see, not more about the result, I think the performance. If we don't have a good one tomorrow, it probably is the answer as to whether or not we might push for the title. Even if we lose tomorrow, but it's a good performance, I think it's a good test. They see, can we push City again this year? And I don't know. I think we might go close.
I mean, two very different international breaks for the two clubs, Cal. As Jamie says, Man City's players all trained today. Don't think anyone expected any different. We've seen a lot of players that weren't playing internationals pulling out. I mean, but if you look at it, Rodri, Spain were already through. Haaland, Norway were already out. Bernardo Silva, Portugal, already through. So that way, a lot of their players probably didn't fancy it if they weren't 100%. So able to pull out because their team's already qualified. And then they flipped the coin. Liverpool's players had a lot of big games like Szoboszlai with Hungary. The South American World Cup campaign started. Diaz and Nunez had great campaigns. So both commanded off in a good moment in terms of City, well rested, but Liverpool's players full of confidence. So, I mean, how do you weigh that up?
Pep must be shitting himself because all these injuries last week, and now they're all fit again. So I think we know what's going on there. Like, but no, look,
you think Pep's got an influence in these international selections?
Oh, you never know. You probably sent a few texts out. They're Rodri and Haaland. They take it easy, but no, look, hey, I rather have it on our side. You have Diaz scoring 2 goals, Nunez, Sabloz. The players are all on form, but no, look, hey, as you say, they'll be the City ones are well rested, and they've nothing to prove at this stage now, so it'll be tough as usual tomorrow.
Jamie, like a lot of people talk about this game. There's been a rivalry since Klopp's second or third season when he came on, and they were the team they put her up to Man City. A lot of people say only for Liverpool, Man City would have walked a lot of these leagues by 20 points or so. So I mean, now that Liverpool they've turned a corner again, and they've got a new, young, youthful looking squad after some of, as you said, Henderson leaving, Milner leaving, and a few others. I mean, is this the best game? Taking out derbies, taking out rivalries, just in terms of football. Do you think this is a game, two teams that will attack as well? We seen the Man City Arsenal game was more like a game of cat and mouse. I don't expect it to be the same tomorrow. I think Man City being at home the onus will be on them. But we know Liverpool, they don't sit back against anyone. So in terms of the neutrals, do you think this is the best game and the game everyone's really looking forward to this weekend?
Oh, 100%. Because if you look at the way City play, we play with the high press. We'll push up the pitch, and it does play on the Liverpool's hands. But we have to be brave. You know what I mean? The likes of Nunez, the pace that he has there, getting on behind. We can't leave any gaps. But it makes for a great spectacle. You only have to look at the Chelsea match last week. You know what I mean? 4-4. Both teams came to play. In the end, it was a great game of football. It was a brilliant result for us. But, for the neutrals, should be rubbing their hands. I think we're more of the same, to be honest with you. But as regards rivalries, Liverpool's the first real proper rivalry. Like, I'm 37. Like, when I grew up in a City fan, United and City weren't in the one league. So when we were in the one league, we weren't really competing with each other. And as we went up, they went down. So it's only the last few years that we've had a real battle at the top, and that's been Liverpool. Like, so it's made the rivalry even more intense. But it's been great to have them because they've kept us going. If you look at the points tally, even when they weren't winning the league, you know what I mean? I think they came second on 93 points, or was it 90?
97.
It's all stupid like that. You know what I mean? Like, it just shows the high standards that they maintain.
Liverpool, the only team they finished with 90 plus points, not won the league, and they've done it twice. 93 points and 96 points. Incredible. Owen's in the chat. He's saying up the Reds, buzzing for the game. Don't I know about it? He's been texting me every day for the last 2 weeks, telling me counting down the days. But Owen, good to have you with us. Callum, similar to you, I mean, there's been some fantastic games in the Pep Klopp era. I watched the Sky Sports montage of all the best goals, controversial moments as well in there. Tends to be a lot of home ones, or the home team doesn't get beat. And we'll look at the form of both teams at home later on. But I mean, does that make it very, very difficult from a Liverpool point of view? You're going here with that in the back of your head that if it was all the way around, maybe Jamie would be feeling it going to Anfield. But do you feel that City are very much the favourites going into this game?
You have to be. We haven't won there in the league since 2015, and after that, it was the only other one was the Champions League quarter-final. But the thing is, we've always given a good game. The was it the 2-1 they beat us, the Stones off the line. It's the best game in English football, and it has been for the last 6 years or so now. So they are favourites. They have to be favourites. But the way I think the Klopp and the boys will be looking at it now, they'll be saying, look, we went there last season and we got trimmed 4-1 and it wasn't even close. So they'll be looking to rectify that. How close can you get to them this time? And I don't think they'll be looking at the form. They'll be looking to try and rectify that 4-1.
I mean, Jamie, Callum makes a good point. That 4-1 game, it's probably the biggest gap there's been between the two teams since, obviously, when Klopp came in, Liverpool were, and they weren't their actual teams. They had to work for a couple of seasons, but once they got them under their identity and the way they wanted to play, thinking back to that first season where they both challenged each other for the league, probably since that was probably the most one-sided game between the two teams. And there looked to be a massive gap on that day in April. Do you expect a totally different Liverpool team tomorrow?
100%. I think Liverpool, I'm sure they can portray that they are the underdogs, so they kind of have nothing to lose and such. But they're up for this game. They know they have to come out. They have to set out their stall. They have to dig deep. You know what I mean? And they have to. I think it's going to be one lost in the middle of the park. I think they need to nullify Rodri tomorrow. You know, if he's playing. So, you know, I think he's at the minute he's one of the best and best midfielders in world football. And if we can stop him and stop the way we play through him, you know, I think they'll have more of a chance. They'll have a chance. But it's one of them. The pressure's on City, as it always is. You know what I mean? We're champions. We're always expected to perform. And I just think, but I do think we have enough flair to do the business, but we just can't be complacent. We can't be looking at last year's game and think, oh, well, it was a walk in the park game. We should do them now. It's never that simple with Liverpool. It's always a good, heated game, good battle from start to finish.
Callum, we spoke about this pre-season. It's been going on post-season, even talks, but we're having this debate today of like who the best challenger to Man City will be this season, you know, out of Liverpool and Arsenal, I think, is the two being mentioned. I mean, you said to me before a ball was kicked, you felt that Liverpool would be City's main rival. Do you stand by that? Do you still think Liverpool are the second best team in the country, despite what Arsenal did last season?
I don't think Arsenal had one good season, and they and I don't like using the term, but they did bottled. They run the prime position. They won the league and they didn't do it. So we've proven, as you say, we're the only team in history to lose a title twice on 90+ points. So no, we are. I think Arsenal have tightened up this year now. See, if you put Rice in our team, I think we probably I put us favourites to the league. He's that good, I think, in my opinion. But it's absolutely important. The number 6s you say about Rodri, we have Fabinho, and now it's a constant talking point with our team with McAllister and Endo. So no, I think Arsenal's probably a more balanced team. But our attack, as I said in pre-season, we'll score bagfuls of goals, and we have been this season so far.
As you say, Arsenal do seem to be tightening up and trying to play that control game. Not boring, but very, very tactical, whereas Liverpool's a bit more free-flowing but fluid. Like, if Liverpool are going to challenge, do you feel they're going to have to shoot their way to glory? Do you feel that the way Arsenal's trying to do it, do you almost feel Liverpool wouldn't be capable of doing that because there's so much of their talents on the attacking area, whereas Arsenal do have a good attacking players, but they've got strengths in Saliba and Gabriel's built up a good partnership. Rice, as you talk about in midfield, and this kind of they don't play at the high tempo Liverpool do. It's more controlled and they'll break teams down. And as we've seen this year, they've won a lot of games away from home 1-0. So do you feel that they're two completely different teams? But if there's any team that's going to push City, it's going to be Liverpool.
I feel like Arsenal's lost that attacking spurt than they had last year. They were so good to watch last season. The first half of the season, they were electric. Like, and I think we've been like that the past 4 or 5 years now. But like, I don't want to discredit our defense. I don't think we're bad. I think, as I've been saying to you, I've been flat out saying to you, I still think Van Dijk, well, especially this season, he's been the best centre half in the world, I think, in this season. And then you've Canate beside him, but he's probably never fit. And in my opinion, we'll get on to later, the best goalkeeper in the world as well. So no, I think it's.
We're talking about Ederson, are we?
We'll get on that.
We'll have that debate in about 10 or 15 months' time. I mean, Jamie, we'll ask you because Callum sort of talked it up there. A lot of people scratching their heads. From a Man City's point of view, who are you most worried about at the moment? If you're looking at it, do you see Liverpool or Arsenal as more of a threat?
I still see Arsenal. I think Arsenal have more depth in their squad. I think they ran us close last year, and I think the change of football that they put on is down to the change of opposition. I think if you look at it from the start of the season last year, teams were turning up to play Arsenal, fancying themselves, and they were getting at them, and Arsenal were just picking them off. I think teams now have changed the mentality. When they play Arsenal, they sit deeper, they make them, break them down. And they have to earn the right to get their 3 points, and but they're still doing it. Like you said, they won so many games 1-0. They're digging out results, and to me, that's always a positive. I think in a title challenge, a team when they're winning ugly. And they're stopping when games when they're certain teams are trying to spoil the game, and they're still getting the result. So I still think Arsenal based on depth, but I think Liverpool, they're a wild card for me still. Like he says, up front, fantastic. Question marks over the midfield, and I have question marks over the back line as well. I think they open up very easy. They concede a lot of chances, more than they concede goals maybe, but they do. Teams can create chances against them.
I mean, it was a cracking game that Jamie spoke about before the international break, the 4-4. Suppose that made the international break even worse because we just seen such a great game. We realised we're on for a 10 or 11 day slog. I mean, Chelsea, it's the first time City have conceded 4 goals for a number of years. And, it wasn't like it was 4 chances and 4 goals. Chelsea created a number of chances. Callum, do you think that that's going to be something that Liverpool looked at this week in the analysis? I mean, Chelsea were able to get at City a number of times, play through them at times, and catch them on the break. I mean, we'll speak about Man City in a minute, but that's something we haven't seen teams do to City for a while. So, I mean, do you think that's something that Liverpool would have really, really worked on this week of like creating chances from counter-attacking and getting at their back four?
Well, that's our bread and butter. We've, as I've spoke about there now again, our attack's unbelievable. And I was watching Klopp's press comments earlier on as well. He's like, if you make Man City uncomfortable, you have a chance. And that's what Chelsea done. They made them uncomfortable. No one expected the 4-4, but I think before going on it, no one really gave Chelsea a chance at the same time either. So, no, look, I think our boys will be up for it 100%. There's no way they won't be. They've gone toe-to-toe with them for so long now. I know it's a new team and it's a younger team, but away with the legs now, again, their midfield. And no, I think they'll be confident. They'll be hungry going into this match tomorrow.
I would say, and I agree with you, Van Dijk's back to his best. I wonder does he make the combined 11, because I know Jamie's a big fan of Diaz and Stones, so I'll have to ask him in a wee while. I mean, Jamie, what about you? Any concerns about that game? We spoke about it was a great game, and sometimes that can get lost in the emotion. Maybe it was a bit of a freak game. You know, we don't see 4-4s very often, but is that, are you putting that down to a one-off, or City concede 4 goals?
I think it was a one-off. If I'm honest with you, I think we'll look back at that match at the end of the season. It could have been the best thing that happened to us. I think it was just sheer complacency. I think we looked at Chelsea, and I've been saying it for a few weeks. I think Chelsea, the tide was turning to Chelsea. It was only a matter of time before Pochettino got them playing. But when you look at them against, like the way Chelsea played against Spurs, and they seemed to make really hard work against 9 men. You know what I mean? It was like, and I think City were just thinking it's going to be a walkover. And I think there was just a real air of complacency about Man City against Chelsea. And it took them to concede 2 or 3 before they even got on the game, you know, with the back line. But I think we'll look back at that, and that'll be, I think Pep would have wrapped them a new one anyway because of it. And I think we'll look back at that as a turning point for our season. You know what I mean? We do this from time to time. They do get complacent. There's a game we slip up. You know what I mean? But we still manage to take a point from it. Chelsea, I don't think will be in the running at the end. So you'd rather it happen against Chelsea last week than against Liverpool tomorrow. You know what I mean? So I just think I'm not too worried about it. But it just goes to show, and I just keep the back line on their toes that they need to stay awake. You know, because if Chelsea can punish you, Liverpool certainly will.
Callum, I spoke to you today, and I kind of said something that Jamie says there, that game probably came at the wrong time for Liverpool, that they conceded 4 goals. I know it was not the national break, but it was the last game they played. Pep's had a lot of time to think about it, work on it. If Liverpool hit Man City at the wrong time in terms of getting they're obviously these knocks as well they had. If the game had been last week, the fact there's not the national break, it's kind of worked out for City that way as well, that you could be coming on to a team that's out to prove a point, and when City are out to prove a point, they're a very, very dangerous team.
But I think I don't think there's a good time to go to the Etihad. Is there? Like, I mean, they're a phenomenal team. We know that. Like, but I think Liverpool will just be out to prove a point as much as anyone else because of the way we played last season at the Etihad and the way we finished up in 5th. So both teams, it actually sets it up perfectly because both teams are out to prove a point tomorrow after the 4-4 and just how we've been in general. So there's more to talk about, the more excited I'm getting from the for it now.
Hey? Jamie, a lot of talk about, you know, Man City's balance this season. Obviously, they've changed it, and Alvarez has come into the midfield. With Gundogan moving on. De Bruyne is obviously out injured. So it's been a midfield of Rodri, Bernardo Silva, and Alvarez, a new midfield. Don't think there's any panic stations because we know Pep likes to change it from year to year. But they probably haven't hit their stride yet. And as we said, sometimes it does take the after Christmas. But the fact they conceded 4 last week, and they lost away to Wolves, lost away to Arsenal. You know, does it worry that balance? You know, they haven't found that balance yet. And as it, you know, we've seen Grealish come on, Doku come on, hasn't kid. You know, he brought Grealish on for the United game, Doku come on for the Chelsea game. I think he had to come on after that performance against Bournemouth. So he's been chopping and changing quite a bit. Any concerns there at the minute, or are you happy enough?
No, not really. Look, we're still top of the league at the end of the day, and I think that Pep gets it right. Pep gets it right with the balance. I think there's players there. It's the way he's blooding them because Doku's not going to play every game because Doku's going to have a couple of stinkers. He's young. He's a live wire type winger, and he's going to have a few stinkers where he's just going to get marked out of the game and off for nothing. So he's doing it the right way.
Do you expect him to play tomorrow, Grealish?
I think we'll go Grealish tomorrow. I think from what I would imagine, Grealish will play and he's more tucked in from the left-hand side. Just to solid things up and just be a bit more controlled. You know what I mean? Because Doku works hard, but he'll be pressed on the last man. I don't think we can leave that much space. I think we'll just tighten up the midfield and be a wee bit more controlled. and you have Doku. Like I said, Doku's a live wire. He can come on, change a game, and he'd be the ideal. On the hour, could bring him on for the last 30 minutes. But I see him do. But there's no worry. City do this. We're just we find our feet up to Christmas, and then from January on, we just turn on that juggernaut that just doesn't get stopped. At some point we're going to leave it too hard. They come back from us. But I would have said that last year. Like, it was in Arsenal's hands. And I know, and you said about Arsenal bottling. I don't really think Arsenal bottled it, because I don't think the results were terrible. It was just, City were just breathing down their necks, and it was just nothing they could do at that stage. Like, but after Christmas, City just turned into the juggernaut and just keep going. But at the minute, we're sitting in the right position, and we've got good players coming in. And you're only looking at the guy like Matteo Nunes coming from Wolves. He's only going to get better. You know what I mean? So we're going to start getting these boys under the Pep way of playing. You know what I mean? These boys are only going to get stronger and stronger.
They almost feel that not that it's a transitional season, but with so many players moving on in the last couple of years and new players coming in, that it's going to take time for Pep to get them back to their very, very best where they were last season.
100% that is. But if you look at who's like, I think Doku's a great replacement for Mahrez. I think he's a fantastic replacement for Mahrez. He's kind of what Mahrez wasn't doing. Mahrez was getting too controlled. He was getting the ball instead of Gennadi's man. He was just tucking in. Whereas Doku has that, he was reminding me of a Sani Sterling and his pump, getting at the defenders. I was always a big fan of Sterling, the way he played at City. The amount of late goals we would have scored, or late penalties we conceded, because Sterling used to just run the man ragged. And eventually, either, the defence will be pressed high, they'll give away a lazy leg tackle, give away a penalty, or we get a late goal. You know what I mean? And we need that. We need to work the back lines a bit more than what we've been doing in the past.
Callum, I suppose the big worry is, Jamie points out, City are still top of the league despite them not being at their best. Does it show you how good they are that, like Liverpool are flying this season? Arsenal, are going well. Spurs started really well as well. That none of them have been able to shake off City. City have got themselves to the top. Only by a point, but if they were to go and win tomorrow, for example, they're going into December. And if you think about last season, they had a lot of catching up to do, and Arsenal and were able to do it. So if they aren't playing catch up, it makes it very difficult, judging by history, that any team's going to be able to stop them, doesn't it?
Of course, but I don't know. I always kind of funny. We always say about this from August to December about how City haven't kicked on the gear yet, but they're always usually top anyway. It's kind of funny, like, isn't it? But after December, then they always go on like it's 10, 11, 12 of that year. We lost the title by 98 points and 14 game winning streak. So no, look, as Jamie said, there's all these new players coming in. I actually disagree. I think Doku will play tomorrow, but maybe he trusts Grealish more in a big game. But I just think as a Liverpool fan, I'd be feared Trent up against Doku. But no, look, hey, City. Like, what more can you say about City these days now? But there's all these new players coming on. If they do extend the gap now tomorrow, they 3 points, 4 points, is it? And then they have all these games in December. It will be tough. Playing catch up with City's not fun anyway.
Jamie, we spoke about this. I have to ask you, because Chelsea game was a great game, obviously, but two of Chelsea's best players were former City players, Sterling and Palmer. Obviously, Sterling's a bit older, so I don't think you'd be too worried there. But is it starting to worry now that Palmer, that he's moved on? And instantly Chelsea fans love him, and he's become one of their main players. Is that one that, I know I've asked you a couple of times, but the more it goes on now, is that one where you think maybe we'll look back and regret?
No, I am not. He's a very, very good player. Don't get me wrong, but look, he's done well, and he's done well statistically. He's hitting penalties and all at Chelsea. He's never been hitting penalties at City. You know what I mean? Like, he's a good player. He really is a good player. But see, when they talk of 40 million, I'd have went and drove him up myself. You know what I mean? It was pointless. It wasn't worth talking. He played a handful of games for City. He scored a good goal at Charity Shield, and Chelsea were offering 40 million. I think, to be fair, I do think it was a good bit of business from Chelsea, because obviously Pochettino and the people there wanted him, and they seen something where he could add to the Chelsea squad. And it took balls to bad 40 million for a City kind of youth player that wasn't really getting a lot of games. And so I do admire them for that. But he
and if you look at it, since he's come on, he sort of solved some, they don't have a player like him. He's creating chances, and they look like they scored more goals since he's come on. So, as you say, it's worked out really well for Chelsea.
100%. But is he better than Foden? No. Is he better than Grealish? No. Does he offer what Doku offers? No. So it's kind of like, where was he going to? I know Doku was brought in after he went, but for me, it was a great bit of business. And for everybody, it's not often you can really say that. You know what I mean? Nobody lost out, because he was never going to play at City. no matter, like if he was performing at Chelsea, at City the way he is at Chelsea, he still wouldn't be starting week in, week out. You know what I mean? He needs to play. Sterling's a different kettle of fish. I was glad to see Sterling go. Sterling had done some fantastic stuff for City. I think he was underrated in his time there, if I'm honest with you. I think there was always this narrative they kind of boo him and all the opposition didn't like him. But I think Sterling's a cracking player and he's getting back to something like he played at City, with Chelsea. So I'm glad they see it for him because I have no gripes with him. But again, it was time to move him on. You know what I mean? We haven't exactly struggled. So it was a good move for everybody there as well. Like I think we bought him for 50, got the best years of his career and then sold him on for 50. Can't really argue for that, like.
He's blew me a question in the water, Callum. I was trying to rattle him up, but he's responded quite well. Callum, let's come back to you. Liverpool very, very strong at home this season, not just results wise, but performance wise. Every game I've watched them at home, like they dominated the games. The teams have had very few opportunities, and it's been like training matches. I know they haven't really played anyone of significance at home. A lot of their games have been away from home. And another one tomorrow away from home. But, away from home, even against Alexa, Luton, Chelsea away in the opening day of the season, they've had some sticky performances. And as you say, haven't had that element of control. Why do you think that is? I mean, obviously, Anfield's a very, very, it's a big advantage because of the atmosphere there. But it's got to be more to it than just that.
It's a difficult one. I actually don't think we played really that bad against Luton. I know it's we all laugh at it, but if Nunez scores the chances, no one talks about it. So it's like I don't think we're struggling breaking teams down either. I think it's just we're away from home, especially in them big games. Like we're always going to go for it, and the midfield doesn't. We haven't always talk about it again. Like McAllister 6, we do be a bit open, and that's not going to be a worry again tomorrow. But it's a sticky one because I know he made changes too, but the Toulouse game away from home, it was shocking as well. I'm just not quite sure what it is away from home.
Brighton was an hour game too, where first half they were pretty poor. Wolves, I know they drew with Brighton. I know they ended up beating Wolves, but first half could have been over really. So
it's very hot and cold.
Newcastle away first half. They seem to have this struggle. I mean, I was reading the Sky Sports predictions that Tipping expert Jones Knows was saying that Liverpool are very, very slow at the blocks in first halves away from home in this season. So I mean, that's something that can't happen tomorrow, is it?
Absolutely not. No, of course not. But I know that's a kind of cliche, but they'll be up for a big game. A big game's always different, isn't it? Like they know going under tomorrow. Like it's you give City anything, they're going to punish you.
Do you expect that they're probably their best away performance this season was away to Spurs? I mean, do you expect a similar type of performance to that more than the other ones?
I will hope there's not a red card tomorrow. I'm fed up getting red cards.
Take out the controversy because there was lots of it in that game. But they actually how Liverpool played, especially in that first half when it was 11v11 up until the red card. I thought
we were electric against Houston, to be honest. And obviously, we went 1-up on the controversy around that. Forget about that. But in terms of the performance, I thought we were unbelievable against Houston. So, no, look, as long as it says 11v11, I'm happy enough.
Jamie, let's come back to you because obviously 23 home victories in a row for Man City in all competitions. I actually read that's the longest serving record of any team in the top division since back in 1892 when Sunderland won 24 games in a row, and they didn't win their 25th game. So a win tomorrow would see them equal that record, which shows you how difficult it is to do. We're not talking about unbeaten, we're talking about winning every game. And there's been some big games in there, like Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Liverpool last season. So they've had it's been going on now for almost a year. I mean, a lot of people say Anfield's a very, very tough place to go, but has the Etihad surpassed that now? Do you think this is the hardest place to go in English football at the minute?
Oh, it has to be. It's at the end of the day, we're the best team over the last 5-6 years. So it's obvious. Anfield maybe more hostile and stuff like that. I mean, there's a guy just you're going to meet a European top level, like the European champions. I keep forgetting actually, but European, so you're going to take on the European champions. That's what you have to do. That's what you expect. You know what I mean? It's a great run. Them stats and stuff like that. They're not something that I read a lot on either. You know what I mean? Because Liverpool could beat us tomorrow, and then that's forgotten about. And they forgot that they even took that stat away from us next week. It's not that big a deal, but you know what I mean. We just have to keep it a fortress.
Wow. 1-2 more home games, and it'll be very hard to forget about because it will be a record.
We'll have that. But look, it's going to be a great match. Really looking forward to it. Like it's just, this is where the season starts to heat up, and you start to see. I think to be fair, if you look at all the teams still in the mix, You know, for as bad as the being United still about there, Newcastle still about, you know, this season could go anyway. You know what I mean? At the minute,
Don't forget
it's
about
still,
Spurs.
what's that? You know what? I
About
Spurs. I got Spurs. They finished fourth, to be honest with you. But it was one of, I think, with the injury list is really not playing in their favour at the minute. And I think Madison, as much he's been a big part of their great start. So I don't know. They need to get, you know, if they can grind out a few results till he's back, he's gonna be all right. Like.
Well, I'm not looking forward to going to Man City next week. We half the team missing, so it's going to be difficult. But we'll come on that next week. We've a lot to worry about on Sunday, and that'll not be easy. Callum, what about you? I mean, a lot of Liverpool fans say there's no place like Anfield. Going there away from home, it's the hardest game in Europe. Some say. Has Man City took that mantelpiece from you? The minute are they the team that teams go and say, look, if the one game we don't want to look forward anymore is Man City. The fact they've won 23 in a row. Does that make it a more tough place now for teams to go to Anfield, do you think?
Oh, well, as Jamie says, I think Anfield's more of a hostile stadium than the Etihad. I'm not trying to have a dig here either. I can't give it, but it just goes to show you the 23 home ones. It just goes to show how a testament how good they are as a team. No team wants to go to Etihad. I don't think it's the stadium. I think it's just more so the team. I think the teams that hard they beat. You know what I mean? It's not.
But you play Surrey up in Bishop's Field and they'll still do you.
Exactly. You know what I mean? I think Anfield is a better atmosphere than.
I'm not referring to the actual stadium. I'm referring to the team that plays there. That's what I mean.
Oh, well, of course, they're the best team in Europe. So of course it's if you want to go down that route, then it's harder at Anfield.
Liverpool have won every home game too, haven't they?
I think so. I'm trying to remember now. I don't think we've been beaten on.
Do you think both teams will go unbeaten all season at home? Unbeaten, I mean, not lose a game at home.
We usually go close to that, to be fair, but it's always
I know Jamie's saying no because Spurs is going there next week and Spurs.
I don't see. It's very difficult to go a full season unbeaten. Well, winning every game, maybe we'll not lose. But you know they won every game at home. It's very, very difficult. The Premier League's just a top league. You know, there's no walkovers. So you know that's not what you strive for. You know what I mean? You expect everyone to beat everyone. The day teams are really winning every single game, it's starting to turn into the Scottish League again. You know, it's a bit of a walkover. You know what I mean? So it's you want the competitiveness.
Interestingly, Spurs haven't been to Anfield or Etihad this season, so maybe that'll change. I don't know.
That's why they're so high in the
I mean, lads, a lot of talk about these two teams over the last few years, as we said. I mean, Man City probably more have benefited because they're the team with the most silverware, but just in terms of the points tallies, the pressure on both teams, Jamie, do you think that Man City have helped Liverpool and Liverpool have helped Man City find that consistent form? You look at the likes of, think about tennis, you think about, would Nadal have been as good as he was? If Federer was Federer around, Djokovic, them types of players, they push you on. Somewhere here, do you think Liverpool have
100%.
made Man City a better team?
100%. I don't think either team gets the credit. There was one point in time I felt Liverpool and City were the two best teams in Europe. I know neither of them won the Champions League that season or within the 2 seasons they were, but they were still, for me, the two best teams in Europe. They were absolutely fantastic. They are, like, I've said it, like, this, you know, it's hard to call, you know what I mean? But I think that City team last year is the greatest Premier League team ever. You know what I mean? But then before that, you had the Centurions, and you're looking at the big team like the United's treble. They had nobody breathing down their neck. I know it was tight with Arsenal, but not to the level of consistency.
You look at someone like PSG, who run away with their league every year, and then when it comes to the crunch games in the Champions League, not used to having that sort of that type rivalry and that type of team that are as good as them. Not used to that. Whereas when they play a team like Man City or Real Madrid, they're usually turned over. So, Callum, somewhere do you think that both teams, whilst there is that rivalry, they've benefited from each other in terms of the quality and the points tallies they produced?
Of course, because like as Jamie tell you, it probably went both ways. It's like whenever you drew a match, as almost if you lost because you just couldn't lose. You couldn't lose the match, and even I know no one even thinks about a title in August, but like when City drop points or they get bit like off some team, you're celebrating because you know how the fun margins. It's been 1 point a couple of seasons in it, so the rivalry's been that good. And then as you go and as you said about Nadal and all that there in any sport, rivalries they breed the high level performances and the consistency. So of course both teams have benefited from that, of course.
Right, let's get into the game. I mean, a lot of talk about Liverpool's midfield, Jamie. You sort of highlighted at the top of the show there. I mean, you think tomorrow that'll show that, you know, you look at the strength of that Man City field? I know De Bruyne is missing, but you've got Rodri and Bernardo Silva on there, seasoned performers. I mean, you look at Bernardo Silva's performance at Old Trafford. They couldn't get the ball off him. I mean, Rodri's the same possession. It'll be interesting to see, does he bring Kovacic in? I know he may be carrying a knock, but Alvarez is on there as well. He's a very tricky customer for someone like McAllister. He's not, as Klopp said in his press conference today, he's not a number 6, and he's been asked to do that role. So, I mean, you spoke about the game being won and lost in midfield, but is that one area of confidence you have tomorrow? I mean, if you look around the team's defence, attack, a lot of talent, but for me, when I looked at it today, the midfield's the biggest gap between the two teams.
100%. I think, and just you touched on McAllister, that's why I think I do think Alvarez will play, and I think that's where he'll expose him, because he'll find them holes. He plays that far forward that the midfield and the defence get confused who should be picking him up. You know what I mean? He finds them pockets of space, and then like I said, that's why I think Grealish will play. He'll tuck on there. He'll be dragging. If McAllister drops deeper, he'll be dragging him away. You know what I mean? So there'll be a lot of more fluidity from the Man City midfield, to where I think Liverpool will be trying just go man to man. You know, I think that's probably the only way they'll be able to stop him. Like Liverpool's, as we spoke at the top of the show, Liverpool's threat is in the forward line. You know, so they want to get the transition as quick as possible. They want to get the ball out of their feet and the attackers and get at us. But you know, this is where it plays on their hands, because you have the pace of Nunes and the pace of Salah. You know what I mean? So that's going to show our boys need to be on the back foot as well. But then we can't be pressing high, because if we don't score early or if we don't kill the game off as such, you know, it's always going to be a battle there. You know, I think they can open us up on the other end of the pitch. But I do think midfield wise, I think Liverpool will have the work cut out tomorrow on this.
Callum, they flip it around. I mean, Liverpool renowned for being one of the best counter-attacking teams around. I mean, we've seen Chelsea expose them last week. For me, Liverpool's a better team than Chelsea. So, I mean, do you think that if City aren't ruthless and, you know, they aren't at their best, Liverpool will give them a hell of a lot to think about going the other way? And we talked about that lack of balance. Maybe like Alvarez on there, they haven't got that midfield steel. I think Gary Neville mentioned that it's the first time for a while he's seen Man City play through so easy. You know, what happened to Chelsea? So, I mean, does that give you confidence that if we can keep it tight at the back, block off the passing lanes and hit them on the break, that it could be Liverpool's day?
I think they'll be happy enough to do that too. They'll know that they'll not be having too much of the ball, obviously, like it spells. But you can pick our front three, and no matter who you pick, you still have two top attackers coming off the bench too. So you have Gakpo and Jota if it's the usual front three. So no, look, that's kind of where our games have been won this year. Whenever we have switched up the attack and we're around the hour mark. So I think City be feared. Obviously, I don't think we'll score 4 like Chelsea did, because of how big the game was. Plus, off the back of that, Pep will have them ready. But no, look, if Chelsea can score 4, we can score a couple of goals. So I think they'll be happy enough.
James is saying 115 charges. What do you think of that, James? We'll get on that in already. We're quite pushed for time. We're going to try and focus on the game. Guys, I hope you're having a good night. We are. Thank you. Hope you are as well. Callum, I'll stick with you this one, because a lot of talk, and Jamie's mentioned him already, Darwin Núñez. I mean, you know, when will he play? Because as we pointed out today to you, Liverpool big away games this season. He didn't start against Newcastle. He didn't start against Spurs. Do you expect him to start tomorrow, because he's in a rich vein of form for club and country? And in the end, he was bought for a lot of money, and he has to be given some show of faith at some stage. And what more? I mean, I think it would cripple the boy's confidence if he doesn't get a start tomorrow, because I'm not sure what else he can do to get into the team now. So, I mean, do you think it's a good opportunity with Liverpool being underdogs, as we spoke about, and maybe a counter-attacking opportunity where he doesn't have time to think about a chance and he has to just have a swipe at it like he did against Newcastle? He could maybe win the game for Liverpool. Or could we be talking after the game about the difference between the two teams was they've got Haaland and we've got Núñez? What do you think?
I think all them points could be correct, to be honest. Like, look, the game, I think if you were to ask him what type of game he loves the game that gets here, because the counter-attack, the amount of the pitch, the space he's going to have to run on day whenever we're on the counter-attack, he'll be loving that. That's his bread and butter. You just don't want to give him too much time to think about the chances. You say the more time he has to think about it, the worse it is. So, no, look, as you say, I think it'll do his confidence. It'll shatter him if he doesn't start tomorrow. There's no excuse for him not to start either. So, like, all the balls South American boys have played, and most of them, McAllister, Diaz, will probably start tomorrow. So if he doesn't start, then you can't really use the excuse of, well, he's in South America. Like, so he has to play for me. I think every Liverpool fan will be asking him to be starting tomorrow. Like.
Jamie, a lot of talk about Van Dijk being back to his best, but he hasn't come up against anyone like Haaland yet. So, do you expect tomorrow Van Dijk being on for much more of a test? We'll see the true credentials if he is back to his best tomorrow.
No, because I think Van Dijk will. I think tomorrow Liverpool will play in a way that was more fitting to what Van Dijk got a lot of his credit for. He was tucked down tight there. It was him. Matip would have been partner that season, and he had three in Wijnaldum, Henderson, and Fabinho sitting in front of him. So he had, he was well protected. I think tomorrow he'll be well protected as well because they will sit a lot deeper against City. But I'm not too worried about Van Dijk, to be totally honest. I don't think he's going to the games where he won a loss on him. You know what I mean? I think, we have more than enough fair to play around him. If he gets touched tight to Haaland, we'll just go on the other one. You know what I mean? We'll just go from another angle. It really isn't going to be one and lost on Van Dijk.
Lads, we have about 20 minutes left, so we'll get into this combined 11.
I
have to say, right, I done it today, and I didn't have too much to think about, so I don't think it's a hard one. There might be some calls Cal my question, but for me, I thought it was pretty straightforward. I think a lot of the players pick themselves, I think, in this situation. So one that might provide a wee bit of or
start.
Eddie, 100% Eddie.
It's Alisson, boys. Come on.
No. We could do a. I'm going to make.
I know we'll do, right, Jamie. I'm going to get you put the case forward for Ederson. Callum, you do it for Alisson. So start with Man City being the home team. Ederson.
He does everything right. No, Alisson has far too many mistakes in him. You only have to look back at last year. There's
no way.
He's kicking balls off the attackers, and
no way.
You know what I mean? For me, he makes too many mistakes. I think steady Eddie. It says it all in the name. He does nothing to do for 90 minutes, and he pull off a world-class save. He's back a second. He's changed football in the way he plays with his feet as well.
These two, for me, are the two best goalkeepers in the league, without doubt.
They're the two best keepers in the world. You know what I mean? I'll happily say Alisson second to Ederson, but not, but no, Eddie's the best.
If Ederson gets in this combined 11, I won't be watching the podcast again. Two fantastic keepers, though, apart from being better with a ball at his feet. He has nothing on Alisson. Would you agree with that, Jamie?
No, absolutely not. Ederson is just, he's fantastic. He commands his box. He does.
Dean saying Haaland will be in Van Dijk's pocket and Alisson ahead of Ederson without a doubt.
I think every neutral would have
Alisson. City fans watch this now.
Who starts for Brazil?
Every neutral has Alisson on.
Who starts for Brazil?
Alisson. But then they play, like Richarlison plays for Brazil. You know what I mean?
They haven't got an striker.
But if he was as good as you're saying he is, he'd be playing.
For me, Ederson's a better goalkeeper, but Alisson's better.
If you look through the history of Brazilian teams as well, there was always a few. How the fuck did they get there? Kind of boys like. It's kind of like.
I remember that striker. What do you call him? Fred playing up front in the World Cup. Nobody heard him. Nobody knew who he was.
Everyone knows how good Alisson is. It's not a freak that he worries.
Alisson's a great goalkeeper, but for me, Ederson is number one. There you go. Started for Brazil. There you go.
Well, Alisson played the last game against Colombia.
It is tight. It is tight for me, but I would just favour Alisson because I think he's better with his hands. But I think it's very, very tight.
I don't see where you're getting these better with his hands. I don't see it.
He's unbelievable in a 1v1 situation.
So good.
I know every time there's a 1v1, you're thinking he's going to save it.
Right back, Kyle Walker, Trent. For me, it's a very easy decision. I think both very, very talented players, but longevity and defensively, there's one stands out. Jamie, what do you think?
Walker, a million miles. Trent, they're moving the goalposts to fit Trent on the team at the minute. You know what I mean? Playing him in midfield and stuff like that.
Where do you feel Trent's best position is, Jamie?
I don't know. I'd like what I've seen at Liverpool in that kind of the way he was pressing on the midfield, but I wasn't impressed with him for England there the other night playing there. I thought he looked a bit lost, to be honest with you. He's trying pulling out the old Hollywood pass to make it look like he's doing something. He's not controlling the game. It's going sideways or backwards. I actually personally still think there's a right back on him, but he really needs to knuckle down. Maybe that's coaching. Maybe that's, it's a different one. He's not on the level defensively as Walker, but, for playing out, building phases of play, he's fantastic. So I do think there's a right back on him. I think trying to put him in midfield, it's, if you're looking for, will he ever be an elite level centre midfielder?
Yeah, I might have to agree with Jamie. This midfield thing for me, I think he's a very talented footballer. He can pick a pass like anyone, but I'm not sure he's not a number 6. He's not going to break up play. He's not going to beat players with piss or beat players with trickery, open up the game for players. It's almost like he's been put on there because he can ping a pass 30 or 40 yards. For me, that's not what a midfielder is all about. It's great having that in your locker, but you have to have all parts of your game. So, and the fact that, as Jamie pointed out, he's not defensively sound as a right back. We've seen him exposed against the likes of Vinicius, whereas Walker kept him pretty quiet. And we also marked Mbappe pretty well. He can cope with anyone. So where do you think Trent's future lies? Now, I think he's a very talented player. I don't want to get that lost, but I'm just scratching my head as to where you play him.
You have to play him right back. He's not a midfielder, and I don't think he ever will be either, because, as you say, he's not your typical midfielder. Like, he's unbelievable. Behind De Bruyne, he's probably the best passer in the league. So he was his second best to De Bruyne. Like, so his best position is when the game is in front of him, when he has time on the ball in that right back position, when he's wide and he doesn't have he can perform under pressure, but when there's not too much pressure, he's time to look up and see the game in front of him. So you don't have that when you're in midfield. So it won't be a midfielder for me. And I would just keep him right back, to be honest. I'm not really overly happy with him and Verton either. He has games where he's good at that, but I always liked him when he was out wide at a proper right back, where he had the time and space to ping the balls. That's what he's good at. Like,
he is an excellent player though, and I'm a big fan of his. And us finding a way of playing and getting him, playing right. I do think he's excellent. But it's like when Stones plays in midfield for City or plays that role, it doesn't make him a midfielder, if you know what I mean. I think Trent, at a certain level, he can play, or against a certain opposition, he can play anywhere in the pitch. He can play him up front and he'll do a job. He's a great player. But, to be elite level, for me, Walker's an elite level right back. Yeah. Trent's an excellent footballer. He needs to find somewhere and hone his craft a wee bit more.
I think personally Walker's the best right back we've ever seen in the Premier League, Callum. So, do you think Trent can ever reach that level?
He needs to, I always kind of do back him in terms of...
Because, Walker initially wasn't that strong. When I remember when he first came on the scene at Spurs, he had similar problems Trent had, where he was getting caught out. He done well under Pochettino, kind of changed him, made him into a top player, and then he elevated his game under Pep. So, do you think Trent just needs to...
you're looking at it too.
It's very difficult because of the way Liverpool play, and he plays that inverted role.
That's what I said. It could be down to coaching, just finding a way of getting the best of him.
I think too, we've seen him from so young. He came in the team at 19 and he's only 25. So you're saying your peak years are 25 onwards. So he could develop. You just don't know. But no, he needs to. Obviously, I still back him. I don't think he's as bad as people make out defensively, but he obviously has to get way, way better at it. If you're going to talk about being better than Walker in terms of could he lock up Mbappe or finishes? I don't think so.
So we're going Alisson, Nets, Walker, right back. Centre backs, Jamie, give me your two. There's 4 options there: Stones, Diaz, Kanate, and Van Dijk.
Stones and Diaz.
Come on, lad.
Van
Dijk. This is kind of bordering on when we done the United City, the 99 team. You're based on careers, there's the nostalgia of what Van Dijk done a couple of seasons ago. He's not been the same player. He's not at the level of Stones and Diaz now. You know what I mean? He turns like a bus. He's not the player he was. He's just not. And even the player he wasn't as good as what people like to think he was as well. So I don't know who it was that after Messi and Ronaldo was the 3rd best player in the world. They must have been blocked. That was nonsense. He was never that level. Like,
he was
for me, Van Dijk, I'm not even being bad about him because of the Liverpool rivalry. Van Dijk he'd struggle for the top 10 ever. Premier League.
Martin's not happy. He says, "What's Jamie smoking about Van Dijk?" Now, I have to say now, and they bring balance on this, right? I think Van Dijk's top player, gets onto his team in my opinion, but I do think Liverpool are very overprotective about him. Fans, they if he makes a mistake, it's swept under the carpet, and they don't like the criticism. They don't like him being criticized too much, and I hate that because they want to protect a player that's been fantastic for them. Callum, you've said to me he's the best centre back in the world again, and to be fair, the stats allude to that, but for me, judge on your eyes, and I can't say he is up there, but has he been any better than some of the other top centre backs? What makes him different? Are you basing that on reputation, or are you basing that on what you've seen? Because as I said, we talked about the likes of Van de Ven, Saliba, Ruben Diaz. No, but I'm just saying, based on the games I've seen this season, I can't think of too many mistakes. He hasn't made any mistakes, and he's been look at the difference since he went out. Exactly. So what makes him any better?
If you're using your eyes and not your stats, and
what makes him better than them players who've been outstanding this season in your eyes? That's what I'm trying to say. What has he done better than them?
He hasn't put a foot wrong, and he's not going to get back to being a couple of votes off one on the Ballon d'Or after the ACL, but his ceiling can still be the best in the world, which I think he is at the minute. Do you know what I mean? It's not that peak in 18-19 is he won't get anywhere near that again. That was just untouchable, but he can still be a top centre half, which I still think he is.
I disagree with you completely. I think in that 18-19 he was protected with 3 holding midfielders, and that was mainly Liverpool's success that year. Everything was done. They didn't play.
I'm changing my XI here now after this answer.
They played from the wing backs out. That's why Trent. Nobody questioned the fact that Trent couldn't defend back in either, because they were protected. The defense was protected so much. You know what I mean? And Van Dijk he's a very, very good player, very, very good defender. Don't be wrong, but he wasn't as good as what people thought he was then, and he's certainly not the best in the world either. And you can't even base it on stats, because you're looking at Stones and Diaz there.
Use your eyes. He's still that good.
We've got Guardiola, we've got a Kanji, and we rotate these. Like, we've argued we get the 5 best centre halves in world football. You know what I mean? And we're rotating them, so none of them's going to get the stats to back up a statement. But it's when you look at the whole.
Jamie's saying he'd go with Stones and Diaz. Callum, who would your 2 be?
Well, I did have Van Dijk and Stones, but I'm going Van Dijk and Canate after that.
I reckon it's hard work for me. I would go Diaz and Van Dijk. Very harsh on Stones because I think he's very good on the ball.
I think you're just sitting
I think Stones is a better defender than Diaz. And he's better on the ball.
He's unbelievable. The 2 of them is fantastic. You know,
they're very good.
I would have Van Dijk and Stones. That's my 2.
Right, we go with Van Dijk and Stones then. Left back, Gvardiol's been playing there this season. More traditionally a centre back, and I think this boy will go on to be one of the top centre backs alongside the likes of Mickey van de Ven. But Robertson is also Robertson has been definitely been a loss for Liverpool. I don't think he's one of Liverpool's best players, but I think if there's a position where Man City don't have a recognised left back at the moment, so I think Robertson probably gets under this team. Jamie, what do you think?
No, just not.
We're fucking centre backs and we're left backs now, are we?
I'll put Salah on, and that's it. there's no.
Oh Jesus Christ!
It's not even close. It's not even close. Like Guardiola, Aki, everyone there is better than Robertson.
So, tell me what Gvardiol is better at Robertson at in the left back role?
Defending.
Oh come on!
He's a better defender. He really is.
He is because he's a centre back. But can he get forward and provide like Robertson can?
It doesn't make a difference. You know, it's kind of like it's the role you're playing and the squad and the team you're playing on. You know what I mean? Guardiola could probably play up front for Luton. You know what I mean? It's the team
to be honest, I think I'm surprised he hasn't been playing centre back because I think he's very, very good. But the fact he's
this is what Pep does. Pep just takes you out a wee bit, so it takes you in the firing line, especially the boys in the centre, and then he will move his way on. Like a Kanji played there a lot in left back. Aki's played there. Now they're playing more centre half. You know what I mean? But Robertson again, he's a very, very good player. But you know, City's full of elite level players, and Liverpool's not. You know, that's the truth. Like
trying their out. I see a wee bit use him. Alright, Jesus Christ!
I didn't think, to be honest, we'd have this much debate.
I thought, you know what I mean?
I thought this would have been easy pickings tonight, but nothing's ever easy when it comes to picking these 11. Callum, for you, are you having Gvardiol over Robertson?
Absolutely not. No chance. It's Robertson all day. Come on, this isn't the debate.
On what grounds? What's he done? What does he do? What does he provide?
To be honest, I don't think you can compare the two. I don't think you can compare the two because one's a centre back and one's a left back. If this was a centre back option, there would be no debate. Gvardiol would be in, but it's a left back.
It's the same question. Why would you put Robertson in a centre back debate?
The way, look, at the end of the day, I think Robertson and Trent, I think they got away with murder defensively for a few seasons. The way Liverpool set up their side, and they didn't have to defend, so they got this. You know, he's not a top level like a.
You're going to decide. He
defends and gets up and down the pitch. You know what I mean? I don't rate Robertson that highly. I think he's good. He's really good, but that's about the height of it. Like, is he? I don't think he's any. Is he better than the likes of Kieran Trippier? You know what I mean? I don't think he is.
The back four then, or the goalkeeper was Allison. Jamie didn't want that. So right back, we only agreed on the right back so far of it because Trent's on or Walker's on there. Centre backs we went Van Dijk and Stones, and left back I think I'm going to have to pick because you can't decide. So for me, you have to play a left back when you've got an available left back there. As much as I like Gvardiol, Scottery didn't go to Spurs and we didn't pay the money for him the year before. But I think if it's a centre back option, we're going Gabriel. If it's left back, it's Robertson. That's just the way it has to be. Midfield now, very easy decision for me. Rodri probably, not possibly, is the best holding midfielder in the world against McAllister, who isn't even a number 6. Callum, what about you? Would you have McAllister over him?
See, if I'm not as biased as Jamie, I don't think this is a discussion, so it's all right. I was
Kieran's
all the way about.
Kieran's on the chat.
All the way about. Jamie would have said McAllister, or no?
I'm actually glad Kieran doesn't know, because this would have been Liverpool's 11 against Man City's 11, because he told me every player, and apart from De Bruyne as well, was all Liverpool.
But one team's European champions and one's not, like, so.
The light switch on wasn't great. He says Dean saying his 11 would be Alisson, Robertson, Van Dijk, Diaz, Walker. Defensively, Robertson and Van Dijk, without a doubt, get some. So we're going with Rodri in midfield. Right, there are 2 centre midfield options I've put on. This is if everyone's fit. Man City's options would be De Bruyne, Silva, Kovacic, and Liverpool's Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, and Jones. But you pick 2 players to join Rodri. Jamie, who would you pick?
De Bruyne and Silva. And there's not even an argument. Like Szoboszlai's only there.
To be fair, they were my two as well.
Like, you know what I mean?
Callum, what about you? Would the Szoboszlai get into the team?
There's my pick, him and De Bruyne.
Over Bernardo Silva?
After the shit he's been talking, I have to give Szoboszlai on now. Have to bet him on.
Two very different players. Both very, very talented. Obviously Silva's longevity. He's been here. Szoboszlai is very young, but he has got hungry through as well. So he's done it on the international stage. Do you think that it's a bit like when I asked you about that Van Dijk Van de Ven thing in September? You sort of blew it out of the water, saying you can't argue about what Van Dijk's done as opposed to what Van de Ven. Now, funny enough, you're flipping around this time. You're putting Szoboszlai on, who's just come onto the scene over Bernardo Silva. So you just making these rules up when it suits you.
No. Do you know what? I had Silva on my team until I heard about Van Dijk not getting on it, so I had to put Szoboszlai on there.
Do you think Szoboszlai could be as good as Bernardo Silva or even better?
I think he's closer. I think if Man City, Pep and Man City fans could pick a replacement for De Bruyne, they would have picked him. I think he's going to be that good.
Dean, to be fair to him, has been pretty honest here. He says Rodri, Silva, and De Bruyne.
That was my free until I heard.
I think that's the free. I'm going to go with them free as well. I think they're just too good to leave out. And finally, lads, attacking options. Man City's, you've got Foden, Grealish, Doku, Alvarez, and Haaland. Liverpool, Salah, Diaz, Núñez, Jota, and Gakpo. So we're picking 3 players from that list. Jamie, who would you have?
Not Tammy. No. I would Salah, Foden, and Haaland up top.
Callum?
I agree. That's my 3.
Mates. What about Núñez? No.
No, Núñez not over Haaland. No.
Seriously.
The only one, to be fair, because I was chatting to my friends before I went on, I actually wanted a bit of help. The only one that I had a bit of a discussion, just looking at my phone, that discussion was the out left, because Foden's even get a game for Man City nearly. So I was thinking nearly putting Diaz on there.
But if you just look at our choices and who we have there, that's what we rotate. So it's not that they're not getting a game, we rotate. You know what I mean?
Of course, that's what I'm saying.
Dean agrees with Jamie. He's going Foden, Haaland, Salah, and I agree as well. I think that is the 3. I think they're the 3 best players, and you have to fit them on one way they are. Interestingly, I think Foden will play on the right tomorrow, so that's where Salah will play. But I think he's played off the left for England as well, and he can play anywhere, and he can even play midfield. Kieran saying Núñez and Mo Salah up top. That's all we need, and put Haaland on the bench. They must have been selling pipes up at that Christmas light switch on. Now this will be interesting. We need a manager. I can already think I'm going to be making the deciding vote here. Jamie, out of the 2 managers, who's better?
Pep. He's changed football. By a million miles. He has the blueprint of a top quality manager. Klopp's great coach as well. It's mad they say, like, the worst thing, like Liverpool, if Man City weren't about, Liverpool and Klopp would be revered the way Pep is. You know what I mean? Because he's done a fantastic job. He's a great coach. But Pep really has changed the blueprint of managers and the way they play. You know, everybody changed. From the past, even goalkeepers have to play with their feet and all. He's top notch. And I know everybody throws the whole, we don't have big teams. But my managers manage my teams. That's the way it goes. You know what I mean? He's had success everywhere. Like he's fantastic. Klopp's a great coach. The thing I'll say about Klopp is Klopp gets a system, and he for me, Klopp's closer to like Sir Alex Ferguson. He gets a system of play, and he puts an arm around the play, and he gets the players. He makes them like a machine. He gets the players doing, what he wants, and then he plugs the gaps in. You know what I mean? Like where Pep has a bit more
Pep's more adaptable as well, and it can evolve.
I think Pep, you kind of have to get on board with what he's doing. You have to play his way, and that's it. But I think Klopp will be the type of manager who will come on and he'd try and get a tune out of what he has, if you know what I mean. So I think they're different in that sense. But I think just Pep is just his success, and he's revered around the world. I think any manager will tell you he's the benchmark. Like,
Cam, is that the difference between the two? Klopp has kind of one way of playing. Pep can change it up every year. Different plays, different ways, plays players in different positions. Whereas we all know with Pep, it's kind of heavy metal, gegenpress, and as we've seen at times when he hasn't got the players, it's found out. Whereas Man City have been pretty consistent. I know you could throw on some more money and whatever, but that's irrelevant really when you've won what they've won.
How is it irrelevant really? I actually, funny enough, I actually watched the video just before it came on. The guy, they asked Gary Neville and Carragher who would you have, and they both said Klopp. So look, I think under the restrictions of our owner, so what he's done's been unbelievable. Would Pep have done it all right about? Jamie probably say I would, but I'm not sure he would. But I would have Klopp on, to be honest. I think the way he's pushed Man City with the team that he's had, I'm not saying it's a bad team by any means, but I think over the since Pep's been and Klopp's been in England, Pep spent about 500 million more. So how's that relevant?
Kieran's saying Pep has never managed average players or managed under a budget. He's always worked with world-class players at his disposal. What would you say to that, Jamie?
Because he's not that average manager. That's why he doesn't manage average players. No, that's just the way it goes. It's like saying Salah. Like Salah wasn't pulling up no trees at Roma or Fiorentina. He thrived at Liverpool because he was at a bigger, better team. You know what I mean? You thrive in your circumstance. Pep's managed only top teams because he's a top manager, but he's not going to fail there. He's done the business. He's done it resoundingly.
Martin's saying Pep makes world-class players play well. Klopp turns players into world-class. But you can throw an argument. Look at Paul Foden. He wasn't. He's turned him into a world-class player. So you can make an exception.
If you look down the list, was Walker a world-class player when he was at City? No,
I would say he was top class, and Pep made him world-class.
Then you're looking at Stones. Like all these boys, they're all question marks over them. We didn't go and buy any finished articles, really.
Sterling, I think Sterling as well. I remember when Sterling left Liverpool fans weren't that worried, and he turned him on a world-class player.
Oh, exactly.
So I do think that's harsh.
Here's the other side, bro. Who's Klopp turned on a world-class player because he's nurtured Trent.
End this podcast, please, would you?
Who's he turned on a world-class? Who's gone on the bigger and better things from Liverpool? You know what I mean?
The peak as at Liverpool, all the top players that left Liverpool have been worse.
But others being found out of it. Look at Manny.
Come on. We sold Manny at the perfect time because he was on the decline.
For me, based on their success, you have to put Pep on, but it is very close. Boys, finally predictions. Jamie, where will the game be won and lost? And what do you think the score will be on Saturday?
Midfield, and I'm going to go 3-1 City. I think it'll be close enough, and I think we'll make another one at the end. You know what I mean? I think we'll open them up because Liverpool have to press a bit higher.
Anyone in the chat there, feel free to fire in predictions before we finish up here in a couple of months' time. Callum, same to you. Where will the game be won and lost? And your prediction for the game tomorrow?
Of course, obviously it's obvious it's on midfield, but look, it's going to be a cracker game as it always is. I was going to give you like the non-biased answer, but after all this talk now, I have to go for a Liverpool one here. So I'll go for a 2-1 Liverpool.
2-1 Liverpool. Kieran saying he's going to get rubbered because his nerves are wrecked. Probably freezing too up at the light. I don't know how they talked to you on the Grand Fair when you could have been on the podcast. To be fair, I think two each. Martin saying, Kieran saying 3-2. Liverpool, Salah to get one and Brist, 2 goals for Nunes. He's back in Nunes again. Lads, I actually think the game will be very, very tight. I think City will just have enough. I think it'll be 2-1 City. I think it'll be a great game. Look, lads, Many thank you for coming on. Very, very good entertainment. The more I think about this now, Cam, I'm glad you were on because I'm not sure meats and ham would have been able to work because
I saved you, and I had a lot of patience there. Hey?
I would have been playing referee. But no, Jamie, thanks for coming on as well. Great contributor to our podcast. Boys, enjoy the game tomorrow. I hope it's but unfortunately,
enjoy it, like, but sure.
Football, both of you are probably not going to enjoy it. One of you will be happier than they are, or maybe a bit draw. I don't know. But everyone that's wondering we didn't do any predictions for the rest of the games, they were actually on last night's podcast. So anyone that wants to look back on last night, feel free to on the channel. And if you're new around here, make sure to smash the like button and subscribe for more content. Boys, thanks very much. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll see you soon.
Cheers, lads.
All the best.